for the YouTube. Got it. Okay, awesome. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert. Welcome to another edition of the Naked Marketing Podcast, where we get naked with our honest mistakes. Welcome to my guest, Chad Betz.
Thanks for having me, Chala. It's great to be here today.
Thank you. You are really matching the background and your logo. You're totally on brand. You're matching what you're wearing. Very, very nice. I bet you're used to this on Zoom now, huh?
It is, after 18 months of this, it's although I still forget to take myself off mute once in a while. I think that's one of the things that's never going to go away.
I know. Isn't that funny? Have you started to do in-person stuff, Chad?
I have, and we've actually been experimenting with hybrid because people are still a little bit hesitant to come out. So by setting up a couple laptops, a couple cameras, you can have an audience and a big monitor so people in the live audience can see the virtual audience, and it works. It's something that people get something out of. The people who want to get out can, and those who are still afraid don't miss out.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm in Canada, so we're still a little hesitant. So not a lot of stuff going on in person, but yeah, I'm glad. And you're not too far away. So I've been dying to come back to the US. I'm telling you, dying. Yeah. It's been pretty bad. So tell us what you do and who you help.
So I help financial institutions improve their processes, get more customers, and to really kind of expand their grasp. Now, where I focus on is the purchase of loans on a secondary market. Now, that might sound like a snoozer, but if you've ever had a mortgage and you paid this company one month and that company the next month, I play in there. I help banks build relationships so they can buy and sell loans to each other.
Oh my gosh, that sounds super niched, and I love it because you know that I'm a niching coach. So how did you get into that niche?
I kind of fell into it, to be honest. I've been in mortgages for, decades, everything from origination to selling repossessed properties. And I just got the opportunity to work in that kind of realm where, knowing non-performing loans and performing loans, to be able to put them into packages and using my networking skills to build those relationships so that, not just between myself and others, but to be a matchmaker so that institutions can sell to each other.
That's wonderful. So when you say financial institutions, are they mortgage companies or are they banks that you're helping?
It's a little bit broader than that. So insurance companies will buy mortgages. There are hedge funds and other kinds of investment funds that buy mortgages. It really, the risk of mortgage debt gets spread throughout the economy, which is pretty healthy, because if it's all kind of concentrated in banks or credit unions, if there is a hiccup in the economy, you can blow up these institutions. Whereas if it's spread out a little bit more, the chance of a catastrophe is much lower. So that's the value of the secondary market, to spread that risk and to allow other institutions to be able to benefit from the profits of the mortgage industry.
I know that in Canada, mortgages and like properties, everything, the whole real estate went crazy during, the pandemic. How has your business been affected, if at all?
It's crazy here too. And there's a lot of mortgage trading going because there's been a lot of refinancing. The one impact is getting people who have experience in reviewing mortgages. There are so few underwriters that they are really in high demand, and to be able to get people to do due diligence for you is hard, especially if you're a smaller player. So you have to be pretty strategic, and you have to build relationships there as well to get to know people where maybe they can do it as a side job instead of to supplement their daytime income. So it's still a relationship issue, but it's that I would say that's the biggest bottleneck, is the review.
That's amazing. So how did it affect your, client relationships, business, volume of business? Did it have any effect?
It does. It makes people a little bit hesitant to buy because they
Wow.
don't have the
Yeah.
capacity to do the reviews. So
No.
to be able to schedule that or to work with the seller to give reps and warranties in the purchase agreement, so the buyer has comfort that if they find an issue later, that they're able to get compensation for it.
That's amazing. So, this is a marketing show, and I love talking about marketing. So, tell us about your marketing. How do you market?
My marketing is almost 100% networking. So getting out and speaking to people, going to conferences, using social media. Although social media is can be a hollow shell. I mean, we all have 2 or 3 thousand of our closest friends and family on social media, but if you don't really talk to them, they're more of a blip on the screen rather than a network contact.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
making sure to build those relationships, expand out those relationships, and you know get that word of mouth going. So I do use social media. Uh, I use it a lot, but I don't rely on it. I really get and use the using this lens and getting out in front of people in Zoom or like you said, now that things are starting to open up in the US, you actually get out in front of people and talk to them.
Got it. Well, so the networking I know has fallen off for me completely. In fact, I lost all of my networks, because all of my business was in the US.
Mhm.
Um, were you able to replace that with social media?
That and with Zoom. I've actually expanded my network because of Zoom. I've been able to do presentations all over the world. I did a presentation to a women's group in London. I spoke to a group in Mumbai, India. I'm going to be doing one in Malaysia. I did one in Saudi Arabia, and it's all because of Zoom. I know we have Zoom fatigue. We want to see people. We're cultural creatures that like to be able to shake hands and hug and see each other. But in lieu of that, to leverage this lens and expand out so you can get an international audience where you may not have been able to do it before because you can't afford that $5,000 trip to Dubai, or you don't have that sponsor to bring you out there. Having a $200 subscription to Zoom opens the world to you.
Yeah, for sure. So, tell us about your most expensive marketing mistake now that we're talking about marketing.
I would say it would be a little bit of arrogance, thinking I understood the customer's needs. And the way I heard it before was that I prescribed
Yeah,
before I diagnosed.
I love that.
So we all think that, we get excited, we have the answer, but we don't ask the questions. And if you think about it, it's like if you go to the doctor and the doctor kind of looks you up and down, you need blood pressure medicine. So, well, shouldn't you test my blood pressure first? Yeah, and that's how the customer sees us. If we come in and say, oh, you need this, well, how do you know? So you really need to prescribe. In order to prescribe, you really need to diagnose. And in order to diagnose, you need to ask questions. So really have that dialogue with the customer. So going beyond the relationship piece into really uncovering the need. What is their pain? How can you relieve that pain? And it's not always the same tool. It's you really need to dig in and ask. So thinking about where I've made mistakes. There is one solar loan seller. So they were a bank that originated loans for solar panels, and the whole thing was I thought that they were trying to do risk mitigation. So I'm talking about risk mitigation, and it wasn't that. They were fully comfortable with the risk. It was they wanted to get a premium for those loans.
Oh.
So by not asking the right questions, I lost that business. And then talking to them later, and I had a relationship with the person who got that business. They said, "Oh yeah," they wanted that premium. It's like, oh, if I just asked a few questions, I would have gotten that business.
That is a good, that's a great point. So what parting advice do you have for people around marketing?
Don't think you have all the answers.
Mm,
Yes, you are an expert. You
mm,
probably know more about your field than your customer, but your customer knows more about their needs. The problem is they probably don't know how to communicate what their needs are. So,
mm,
using your expertise to be able to ask questions, to really dig down, and to find out the whole solution. I like to think of it with three P's. You have people, you have process, you have production.
mhm,
That's where you're going to find your client's pain. A
mhm,
lot of times it's going to be in that production piece, whether it's selling more products, whether it's getting that premium for the loans like our solar seller. That's the production. But if we only focus on that, then we miss the larger picture. We don't see the whole system.
mhm.
In helping, and this is whether you're a teacher, you could be a marketing professional, a manufacturing professional, it doesn't matter. You need people if you're going to scale your production. If you're going to be efficient, you need processes, but you also have to measure your production. So knowing the whole system to be able to keep your people motivated and trained, to be able to keep them efficient with processes, and to really be able to measure and increase your production. So having the holistic view of the problem and asking your customer questions about that. How do their people come into it? How does their process go into it? And how do you build the production? So that's, with marketing, it's, how do they want to increase their whatever they're increasing, whether it's more sales, whether it's getting more known in the industry, whatever it is, how do those other pieces fit in? That's really seeing the whole picture.
That's great. Chad, how do people reach you?
Probably the best way to get me is from my book's website, latebloomerbook.com.
Nice.
My email's there, LinkedIn's there, author page is there for Facebook. It's all right there. So latebloomerbook.com.
Love the name. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thanks, Charles. It was great to be here.
Thank you.